Good morning, folks. You're tuned into Car Connection, where the coffee's strong, the stories are real, and the wrenches never stop turning. I'm your host, Dial Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you from the Car Connection workshop, where the smell of fresh oil and a little elbow grease is all part of a balanced breakfast. Around here, we don't just talk cars, we live them. Whether it's a 25-year-old Jeep Wrangler getting a second chance at life, or a Nissan Rogue getting its brakes back in order, or a mystery leak that's got everyone scratching their heads. This is where we roll up our sleeves and get it done with a little wit, a little wisdom, and a whole lot of fun. The Car Connection isn't just about nuts, bolts, and diagnostics. It's about connection. Connection to our vehicles, to the people who drive them, and to the community that keeps Niagara rolling. Because when you fix a car, you're not just turning a wrench, you're restoring someone's confidence, freedom, and maybe even their sanity. We're here every week for you, Monday through Saturday, for our Motormouth 8 a.m. morning drive, helping you keep your ride safe, reliable, and ready for whatever road lies ahead. So whether you're a weekend wrencher, a daily commuter, or someone who just wants to understand what that strange rattle really means, welcome aboard. Stick around for shop talk, expert advice, a few good laughs, and maybe a story or two that comes to mind as we're spending our morning together here on the morning drive. Well, if you're just sliding through the drive-through, double check your order, lock it down in your cup holder, pass the pack of 16 Crayola crayons and the folded leaf bag that resembles a laptop so they can take notes down for you. And if you can't take notes, all our programs are available to you on our iHeart channel. You can also go to the link on the homepage of our website, which, by the way, everything we talk about, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Stevensvilleontheweb.ca, iHeartRadio, and all the major podcast platforms, Apple, Amazon, we're there. Just type Car Connection in the search box, whatever platform you're pulling your podcast from, we're there. You can find us. So everything we talk about lives at our website because we've turned that into the biggest drawer that we could possibly have and stuff as many tools in there as possible so that you're able to follow and connect with us. So top right-hand corner of our homepage at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com is where all the links are provided for you. I make reference to that in all the descriptions of all our YouTube videos as well as our podcasts right here. So we make it simple, and you can connect with our program partners, our sponsors, also on our homepage. Their logos are there for their companies. Click and visit them, and they're there to help you answer questions. They're not there to work for free, but if they want to give you a discount, they'll just do it because you know why? They're great people, and they're like family to us. They've been a part of our radio broadcast for many, many years, and 31 years. We wrapped it up. Now we're gone totally digital. We should have done that many years ago, but you know what? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? But we're here. And that's the reason why, the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield on your car, because it's better to know where you're going than focus on where you've been. Well, a little tip this morning before we have our morning coffee together. Keep an eye on the road, and we'll have a swiggy in just about 30 seconds. Did you know this? Are you ready? Most people don't realize skipping maintenance can cut the life of a vehicle by 40%. Did you just hear that? 40% by skipping maintenance. That is absolutely food for thought. Because that's why Car Connection and our Car Connection workshop are on a mission to educate. And thanks to our partners for Rainbow Motors and Garage, Reed and Remiz, Shaduda, the brothers, providing sales and service to all makes and models that you can trust. So you can purchase a vehicle there. They don't sell any junk. They have extended warranties that you can take a look at to purchase. But you can buy a vehicle there and have it serviced there. How cool is that? And they service all years, makes and models, up to and including light commercial vehicles. Rainbow Motors and Garage, sales and service in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada that you can trust. Yeah, that blew me away. I'm reading the article, and I must have read that piece about 100 times. Okay, 99. Most people don't realize skipping maintenance can cut the life of your vehicle by 40%. Let's think about that for a second before we unpack this morning's program. Why modern engines don't last like they used to. And there's a big science behind that. And it's got some people bent out of shape, but I'm going to unpack it the best way I know how. As a licensed automotive service technician, yeah, they just, the Ministry of Skills and Development just sent me the invoice to renew my 310T and my 310S licenses. Yeah, we got to pay for them. It's called I call it the SOP, the Standing Operating Procedure. Yeah, we have to pay, even though we paid to put ourselves through school, trade school, paid to take evening classes to get sharper at diagnosing and understanding the automobiles that are built today. All that and a diet soda, and you get a bill to buy your licenses again and keep them valid. There's just no getting away from the hand going in your pocket, is there? Well, there's hope, babies. There's hope. Because we're going to hopefully help you to reduce that 40%. That still blows me away. I did not think that number was that high. Skipping vehicle maintenance cuts the life of a vehicle by 40%. So let's say today you go out there and you purchase a brand new vehicle. There's some people, that's your stick. I'm not, working with financial planners for over 20 years. I finally got it. It's like, I got it. I really, really got it. Is being in a partnership with the bank or a finance company on an automobile is not a really, really good idea if you want to create a financial future for yourself and your family and have options. Yeah, options like you can retire out at 50 or 45 or 55 and say, yep, that's enough. I don't need to hang out here trading time for money. But not all of us are thinking that way. Buying a new vehicle every 5 years, you realize what I just said is because you feel like you don't need to maintain it, you shorten the life of that automobile by 40%. So if you have a 72-month loan, by the time you finish paying that off, the half of the vehicle that's left isn't worth anything because you haven't maintained it. Somebody's got to pay on that at some point. That's just the way it is. That's why we have pre-owned automobiles, and the ones that make it to a lot of the really good car lots, which brings me to say thank you to Earl and Louise Grant for doing what they do, and that is they know how to pick pre-owned automobiles, quality pre-owned automobiles with low mileage. City Auto Sales and Leasing. They hold the moniker Greater Toronto Area's premier pre-owned auto store. They sell no junk either. They have over 20 plus years in the business and resources to find those low mileage, top quality vehicles for you. They do the legwork. So if they don't have what you're looking for, they have the resources to find it. Low mileage, quality vehicles at fair prices. That's City Auto Sales and Leasing. They also have in-house financing as well. And you know what? Earl and Louise are car guys, and they're also family people. If they think that you're getting in way over your head and going to be car broke, they're going to say something very, very gently and in love and say, you know what, maybe start off with something a little on the lighter side, payment-wise, and work your way up so that you're not trading your time for money and your car broke. That is not a good place to be. City Auto Sales and Leasing, GTA's premier pre-owned auto store. Check them out on our website. So let's jump into our topic this morning and have a swiggy first. because it's staring at me and it's saying, it's time, Motormouth. Yeah. How do we do that? Raise your favorite morning beverage, and we count it down 3, 2, 1, and we have a swiggy together. This morning we're going to be talking about why modern engines don't last like they used to. And then you take that, what I just told you, that not maintaining a vehicle cuts the lifespan of a vehicle by 40%, by half. Wow. So do the math. 72 months, making all those payments, trading your time for money, and there's nothing left if you're not going to maintain it. 40% of that vehicle is toast. It's done. And on trade-in, I just use this as an example. It's 2008 Nissan Rogue. It made it through its safety inspection. Now I got to call today and get some insurance arranged on there. And that's going to be a really nice little hopper around town and pick up some deliveries and stuff like that. There's always something going on, and I don't need to take the FJ Cruiser with little old me behind the wheel to do that. It's like seeing somebody in a great big behemoth of a pickup truck and there's a little tiny person behind the steering wheel. That's a lot of ride for one person. And I never used to think that way, but I do now. It's like, do you really need to get out a cannon to kill a butterfly? Really? Really? You just need a second vehicle for running around, doing the I call it the shuffle. Running here, you got to get errands done. You got to get this taken care of, that taken care of. It's life. You got to get life's stuff done. So let's begin with a swiggy this morning. I don't know what your favorite morning beverage is. Ours is high octane, nothing less than 99.5% octane boost. But here we go. Let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. It's a little cold, but we'll take it. It's wet. It will put the coffee pot on after the program. Maybe we'll come to your house one of these times, or maybe we'll invite you all to come to the Car Connection workshop and we'll have morning coffee together and shoot a video. That would be so cool. That's something we definitely have to arrange for the summer. Yeah, we got snow here along south shores of Lake Erie. It snowed pretty much on and off all night, and scheduled for some more. The winter event mechanisms are going to be with us today. What they are, we don't know. We have no idea. It's an IDK. I don't know. Another tip for you this morning, I will always give you tips that put money back in your pocket, in your wallet, whether I'm shooting a video. And we do 3 new videos every single week. We're posted now all the way to February 6th. We're finishing off a series of our 1997 Jeep TJ Wrangler Rescue. Came in a year ago this last June. Rescued it from the crusher. And it's just about ready to hit the road, which is really cool. We're doing some upgrades now. Changed out the dash from a 1997, upgraded it to a new color. And the whole interior is going to be changed over to slate black. And that's all done. It's all in. A couple of things weren't working. You're going to have to check the video series out on that. And it's all walking you through the basics. So as I'm doing the work, you get a better understanding of how things work on your vehicle and what kind of maintenance they require. And all the way along this rescue on this little 97 Jeep Wrangler TJ, is just taking care of business. Maintenance that was not taken care of. And then another problem not taken care of. And then another problem not taken care of. I'm fully understanding that 40%. That the lack of maintenance on your vehicle reduces its longevity by 40%. That's crazy. Well, here's another statistic. So now, do you realize there's lots of room for you here with that 40% to put money back in your wallet? I hope that that's the way your mind is thinking, because that's what I was thinking right away is, you know what? If you took the mindset of actually looking at your vehicle as a piece of equipment, is it an asset or a liability to you? And I totally disagree with those who think don't put money into an older car. No. You know what that tells me? You don't work with a financial planner, a certified financial planner, because you're not thinking right. You're thinking world, sales, maintenance free. Well, if that's your avenue to go down, hey, I let you walk it all on your own, because you know what? Even when I had apprentices, sometimes I just have to let them fall down and go boom. Then we talk about it. Then we go, now do you understand why when I instruct you how to do something, I'm not instructing it to make you feel small or belittled or useless or sarcastic. I'm telling you how to do it if you want the best results. That's how we would talk about that. And that's why I hope that I'm talking to a lot of you that understand your vehicle can be a liability or an asset. It's a liability when you buy into the lie that you can't own and operate an older vehicle and have success with it, because that's not true. And I'm living proof of that. You go, well, you're a mechanic. If I had a nickel for every time somebody used that as an excuse, I'd be a gajillionaire. It's an excuse. I'm a mechanic, you're not. No, you're a car owner. When you have those keys, there's something called, we always talked about at dealership level. I only ever worked at a dealership once in my life. And I tell you, I learned a ton because I was the guy. Yeah. Sent in to rescue a dying dealership. It worked. I just applied my business smarts that I learned from my business mentors. And guess what? With the right people, right mindset, we fixed it. And went number 1 in Ontario and Canada for parts and service. How cool is that? Going from the bottom to the top of the district in 18 months as a team. That's how you have to look at your car. You're the coach. You're the team. But if you have an automotive shop you can rely on to keep you on track with vehicle maintenance, and you're ready to listen and do. Remember, the do does and the did is done. But to lose 40% of the life in your vehicle because why? Here's my point before we jump into our topic today. Here's my point. I was just in a dealership yesterday. I'm not going to mention any words, but I'll tell you what. If they sent me in there to fix that place, I could fix that in a year, and I would make some changes ASAP on the A-Trap. Oh, yes. Absolutely. I'm looking at a vehicle in the showroom, might as well call it $59,000. And my head kind of rotated like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. No, there wasn't any green vomit or anything like that. So, sorry if you're eating a morning snack. Sorry about that, the green vomit thing. I go, $59,000. How much time for money do I have to trade to pay that thing off? And will there be anything left of it if I treat it like a bad donkey, like I just treated my trade-in that was worth a handful of cash? Which brings me back to full circle on the 2008 Nissan Rogue that was donated to us. And thank you very much for that. That was from one of our listeners. Thank you very, very much. It's going to be a great asset. And yeah, it has a list of problematic failures. So guess what? When you know what they are, then you know how to apply the maintenance. If you're working with a service tech that's looking out for you, they'll say, we need to do this on there, and we need to take care of this. We need to stay ahead of the curve. Here's some of the curve balls that vehicle could throw you, but if we're ahead of those curve balls, we're in good shape. You can make it, and you absolutely can. I'm looking up to see, what's this thing worth? Because it needs a value put on it so I can get the ownership changed over. And it's blank on the green sheets, which means it's what you paid for it. So I'm thinking, I got to do something that's reasonable. And so I thought, what would it be worth on a trade-in? That would give us a decent number to think about. So 08 Nissan Rogue with 120,000 K on. And the bodies, I give it about an 8.5. Yeah. There's no rot on the upside, but there are some areas that are showing, hey, Houston, we got some problems coming here. So rust proofing already, I've already started applying it to those areas to shut the rusties down, slow it down at least. On a trade, it's worth $993. That's it. I know it's aged. It's an 08. But that would be the second newest in the fleet. Yeah. So 1999 to 2007 to 2009, it would slot right in there. Right? So on a trade, you would get $993 for that. That's it. It's pretty sad. But it is, it's got some years on it. You can figure out what that is. But now it's brought back to life. Everything that was in need of repairs and maintenance is done. It passed to safety second time round with flying colors. Just a couple of incidentals. A couple of tires had to come off. They just didn't measure out right. And I got a little bit educated this week as well as safety inspections. There's no paperwork for them to hand you anymore. And see, I got out of the business before that happened. It was on the cusp of happening. So they have to take pictures of everything, and it all gets uploaded to the Ministry of Transport. So when I go to the License Bureau to tag and bag this thing, the safety inspection, all the pictures, all the details, everything is already in the system. I'm like, wow, super high tech. He goes, yeah, we can't skip anything. Not a stinking thing. It has to be. So, and the guy said, if we were doing a paper safety check, the tires they'd be adequate, but they said, if we take pictures of that and put it through, it's going to flag us as a shop. And I go, no, don't do that. So, yeah. So we worked it out, got a couple of new tires and got those thrown on there, and that got it through the safety. But I was really thrown back that it was the value was $993. Crazy. I see more value. You know why? Because I see it as an asset, not a liability. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to maintain it? Hey, that's your business. That's fine. You're trading a lot of time for money, and you're on that hamster wheel, and you run, get off, lick the little ball, get a pellet, jump back on. You're doing that every single day and throwing money out of the window of the car as you're driving. Because you're going to have 40% of life gone out of that vehicle you're driving for what? Trading time for money. What's your time worth? What is your time worth is the question you have to ask yourself. How many times do you want to, by the time you pay it off, you got nothing left, you got to go get another one. I call that the never, never plan. You're forever going to be trading time for money to pay for an automobile. And you know what that is? Your car broke. Between your mortgage, living the dream, you got to have your dream home. You can't wait and work your way up. You got to have your dream home. So you're in over your head there. And then you got to add car payments. And maybe 2 car payments, his and hers. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And when I hear someone say, I just can't see putting parts on an old car. Well, that tells me right away, you don't see the value in the automobile. So you don't see any value in maintaining your current ride that you're making payments on. So you're on the never, never plan. So you're always going to be car broke or one payment from losing the car. Not a good idea. Another tip this morning to put money in your pocket. Tire pressures. I'm going to give you the reality. How important is it to maintain your tire pressures? And even more so in the cold weather. I know it's uncomfortable out there, but get your service tech to do it and take them a nice hot cup of joe. They'll do your tire pressures for you. Fresh donuts, that'll buy you some really good extra special treatment. Yeah, coffee and fresh donuts. You bet. For every 1 PSI, one PSI underinflated, you're losing 2% fuel economy. So again, I'm not talking to the person that doesn't see their vehicle as an asset. I am not talking and wasting any breath with that person that says, I just can't see spending any money on an older vehicle. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not talking to that person because the mindset is already there. Here's what my professor taught me is smile and nod and just know that they're out there in the rhubarb patch. They're not listening. Because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And secondly, a man convinced against his will is of his own opinion still. And my natural path works exactly like that. People might try and tell me, oh, that's just a load of baloney. That's snake oil. The guy's ripping you off. Really? Really? I would have probably had about 6 surgeries by now. Yep. And the last one would have really messed me up if I let them do it for the rest of my life. So you tell me, you try and convince me that, working with a homeopath, a naturopath that is really, really passionate about what they do, understanding the human body and how it works and meridians, the whole package, the circuits running through our bodies, we're electrical, period. Yeah, our bodies are they're wired that way to positive and negative. Earth is ground. It's magnetic. Do some research. It's really phenomenal. It's really, really phenomenal. So I say that to say, you know what? I'm willing to follow my Tom for the last 30 years. He's saved me from a lot of surgeries and not just patch the problem, fixed. And then how do you prevent it? Boom. Apply the maintenance. That's it. That's an automobile. Exactly the same thing. What's going wrong? How do we fix it? Apply the maintenance. And that's why it brings us to why are modern engines not lasting like they used to? It's supply and demand. It's what the consumer wants. The consumer wants high-revving engines so that you can drive like a bat out of hell on the highway. You are. I see you. I did 650 kilometers the other day, round trip. Exactly. It was brutal. Watching most of you out there and going, man, that car, if it lasts one more year or the next 6 months, I'd eat my worst pair of shorts. I don't think I have a worst pair anymore. I think that got all cleaned out. Anyhow, yeah. So those aren't the people I'm talking to. I'm talking to you that is in your car right now or wherever you are. You got a day off. You're at home trading time for money. You really need to think about that. Trading time for money. Away from your family, on the road, at work, all day, every day, and then tomorrow morning, you had a lousy day to yesterday, and you got to go and do it again tomorrow. Or many of you are in jobs that that really suck. And I've been there. Yes. That you just dread. Forget Monday morning. Monday mornings happen every day. Then you got to change it. If you don't like it, change it. The do does and the did is done. So what we've pushed the car manufacturers and the engineers that design and build the engines in these vehicles is to handle high engine RPMs for extended periods of time. What would we compare our automobiles to today out there? High-revving motorcycles, crotch rockets. Yeah, exactly. Not Harleys, crotch rockets. Whee! Those things are screaming around here, let me tell you, along the lakefront all summer long. The young fellas are on there. They have no idea what happens when you have a wreck. I think they should watch a video just so they get an idea that, you got a lot of power in your hands, but you don't have a lot of protection. Yeah, like that melon holder, the helmet is not going to save you when you are a human cannonball. And I watched this happen. I had a broken arm. Yeah, it brings me to a little story. Give you a little break here. Yeah. This is back in 2005. 2005? No, 2006, 2007. Was playing Sunday night hockey. Got busted up. Playing with some guys from the U.S. that thought we were, in the NHL. And it was Stanley Cup time. And it was like, guys, most of us are self-employed. We need to go to work. And bam, I busted my hand right off my wrist. It's called a Smith's fracture. So my hand is underneath my arm, and one of the fellas gets me off the ice and gets my glove off, and he goes, Niall, this is not looking good for you. Let me get you undressed, and we'll get you to the hospital. So I ended up, anyways, long story short, 5 casts later, then I end up having surgery in Toronto at St. Michael's. Great job. They did a great job fixing it up. The guy prior to that, messed it up for quite some time, and then it was fixed. It got fixed. But anyways, where was I going with this? Yes, projectile. So here I am. I got a cast way out to here, like I'm waving to everybody all the time. And it was an early spring time, and I could hear a motorcycle coming from Peace Bridge area along the lakefront. Whee! And then I see a pickup truck pass my driveway, and I'm watching. I'm going, what's really going on here? Something. I felt. You ever get that feeling? I felt something, and I did. I felt something like something is, I think, about to happen. And lived right on the corner. Was renting a house at that time, and only moved down to Fort Erie in 2005. And I hear the motorcycle coming. Whee! And this little red Chevy pickup extra cab is sitting there at the middle of the intersection, and turning left is a dead end, turning right would take the person towards the lake. And it was a young girl sitting there, and it was a red Chevy pickup truck, extra cab, like an S10, S15 thing at the time. I hear the motorcycle still coming, like it's revving high, so he's moving. He's moving. Whee! And it was just about dusk. Not quite. I could still see everything going on. I'm standing there. And it was a beautiful day that day. It got up to like 22, early spring. It was wonderful. And then I turned, and I could not believe my eyes. She turned left towards the dead-end street right in front of the motorcycle dude. He's trying to dump it, and it's too late. It ain't going to happen. He hits the pickup, and bazinga. He went up in the air, and I didn't even know where he went. Honest to goodness, I thought he was in a tree somewhere. I didn't know. And how fast that happened. And I think the kids today, and I'm talking about that because high-revving engines, you can get those things singing. And that's what the engineers have designed in your automobile. You can get that motor really, really singing for hours on end, but it's going to cost you. And that's where we're going to sew that up so that you get a better understanding. That 40% loss in longevity on your vehicle is true. It's absolutely true. So anyways, I see this guy hit up in the air. I couldn't see him by this time. It was just like a shade of gray outside. It was evening, early evening, and I had no idea where he went. None. And here I am in a cast. And there's motorcycle parts everywhere. Right past my driveway, there's bits and pieces traveling down the road and settling out. And I run in the house and yell, call 911 right away. There's been a bike accident in a pickup right out front, and I don't know if the guy's okay or not. So I went and talked to the young lady. She was just absolutely frantic and kind of in shock. And I just said, stay here, help's on the way. Just shut it off. She couldn't even shut it off. Reach in, shut it off. So I said, just sit tight. We'll get somebody to sit with you. And I'm running around. I got this cast on. My neighbor told me the next day, he goes, Niall, I couldn't come out. I can't see blood. I'm like, great. Got a wimpy neighbor. Anyhow, I stopped the traffic, get a couple of guys going. blocked the traffic both ways. I said, there's a rider. He didn't get stuffed inside the truck, but he's here somewhere. I can't see him. I said he went up and over the truck, and I don't know how far away he landed. We're looking for the guy, and he was almost stuffed in a culvert at the end of my driveway. I didn't even see him. But anyways, it was gruesome. So if you've got kids that are riding those motorcycles and winding them up like that, they really need to understand, that fella's life changed in an instant. And the fire chief that came, Glenn, I know him from, used to work at a parts store, Napa parts store. And he said, Dial, he goes, the guy's, he's going to be all right. He says his leg is, broken in several places. His leg was actually, his ankle and his foot were laying on the back of his helmet. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. So it was a tough go. I'm in his cast and talking to him, and I said, can I call somebody for you? And it's an amazing story because that person was somebody I was playing hockey with that I broke my arm, and also a person that was very instrumental in helping to build Car Connection. And so I say that to all of you. If you've got kids and they got crotch rockets, you really need to tell them to slow down, because they don't understand just how quick that happens. And that happened very, very quickly. And Glenn said to me, the fire chief, he goes, he is 2.5 inches from not being alive today, undead. And same with the driver of the truck, the pickup truck, because he says it was an extra cab. His front wheel of his bike hit 2 inches behind the rear window for the extra cab. And he says what happens, Niall, is they hit that area where the window is. They feed the machine and themselves right into the vehicle and kill all the occupants, including themselves. He said 2 inches. 2 inches from that happening. That's why he went up and over the cab. So anyways, high RPMs. That's what those crotch rockets are designed to handle. They can take that brutal driving at high RPM for extended periods of time. So here's what has happened over the years. The older engines that are having some muscle cars, they're not designed to handle high RPM for extended periods of time. They come apart. Something's going to break because the oiling system inside that engine is designed completely different. That's why. So on today's engines, the engineers know that you're winding them up like those crotch rockets for extended periods of time at high RPMs, giving away all your fuel economy and reducing the longevity of the vehicle by 40%. So why are we seeing really good vehicles not rusted out in the U-Picket wrecking yards? Because you're blowing them up. That's why. And then when you find out it's like $16,000 put a motor in it, or some of them way over 20 grand to put a new motor in it, you say, hasta la vista, baby, right? And you go back on the never, never plan. Can you sense being a hamster, getting on that wheel, the same pattern all over again? Run, get off, lick the little ball, take a pellet, jump back on, run, get off, lick the little ball, get another pellet, jump back on. Can you visualize that? Because that's exactly what's going on. These engines will take it, and then they won't. And so in order to create and engineer engines that in our automobiles that can handle high RPMs for extended periods of time, they've had to tighten up the tolerances inside the engine. And that's why we're seeing motor oils with numbers on that we've never seen before. 0-20. I never saw that growing up as an apprentice. All through my years, I'm licensed since 1988. We never saw that. It was 10W30, 15W40, 20W50. Once in a while, something really odd, 5W30. It was like, whoa, 5W30. Like, no, that was like off the wall. Now we got 0W20. And it's expensive. And it's synthetic because they need to put synthetic oils in there because the synthetic oil disperses heat better than conventional oil. But they got to get a lot of motor oil in and around those moving components inside the engine to keep the lube there, because at high RPM, the lube wants to run away. See ya! This is too hot, too heavy, too much pressure for me. And the oil wants to run away. So they got to have thin oil that gets into very thin spaces and stays there for long periods of time. But I won't get into all the technical stuff. So for all you armchair warriors, you do your homework, because I do mine. This is why a good comparison is Formula One engines, NASCAR engines. They finish a race, that engine's done. It's done. They're turning high RPM for extended periods of time. Amen? Yeah. For what? 250, 300 laps, depends on if it's a super speedway. When that vehicle crosses the finish line, that motor is done. It's got to be fully taken apart and fully rebuilt, and a fresh one put back in, worth, I think they're like $150,000 now. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that, but the price on them is phenomenal. So that's why the price of the vehicles is going up, because of this engineering that needs to be under the hood for you to wind that vehicle up for extended periods of time, driving 30, 40K over the speed limit, up and down the highways, trading time for money every single day, 5-6 days a week. They know that. So the trade-off is tighter tolerances, thinner motor oil, higher pressures, get as much oil as possible underneath the skirts of the pistons inside the engines, and the engines use motor oil. That's why. You go, well, I never had to top up, my 19 blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because that was a different animal. These newer animals burn out. You burn them out. So when you're scooting up and down the highway, 30 to 40K over the limit, and, a good whopping ticket will slow you down for about 6 months. Points, insurance policy goes up. Now you're on the road map and on the radar. They're keeping an eye on you. And, you got like a $360 ticket. And or your vehicle's getting towed and impounded and you're losing your license for 6 months. See, it all escalates when you get caught doing 30, 40 over. And you get an officer that had a bad coffee out of Timmy's window or something that morning. It's you. Today's your day. Right? So it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, and everything changes. And the motor blows up. And you're still making payments on it. And it's not covered by warranty. So that's how today's engines don't last. They're like a NASCAR engine. They can only do a couple of hundred laps, and it's over. That motor is finished. It's booked it out. It's punched out. Yeah. And they got to completely restore that motor for another time. And that's money. So that's how these vehicles are ending up in a U-pull-it wrecking yard where the bodies aren't rusted out. They haven't been in a collision and all smashed up and twisted and mutilated. They look good. I'll be honest. If you watch that video on our YouTube channel, Skippy, my videographer, is going, why are these vehicles in here? Look at them. They're decent. Like, they're really, really good. I got rust on mine. There's no rust on these ones. Yeah, because the motor or transmission is blown up. It's over. She's singing. And you don't want to put the money into it because that's when you usually get the aha moment. That deer in the headlights look, oh my. You got to be kidding me. That much, huh? And you go, I don't have that kind of money. Just, you're going to have to put it outside. And that's what happens. And then it gets, guys calling saying, you got to get this thing out of here. What are you doing with it? You going to put a motor in it, or what are you thinking? And it goes to the wrecking yard. That's where it goes. It goes to the recycle yard. So that's why these engines aren't lasting like they used to. It would if you drove it like a normal person should drive it and pay attention to, the posted speed limit signs. Change your schedule, go to bed earlier so you can get up earlier and you're not rushing to get to work. It ain't a race. It isn't a race, folks. Like, where are you going in such a hurry? Trade time for money. So again, the point I leave with you today is, and the question that you have to answer is, do you view your vehicle as a liability, it's costing you money, or is it an asset? And how do you change that? How do you change it from being a liability to an asset? That's what I can do for you. That's what Car Connection can do for you. Follow my lead. I spent decades helping and working on fleet vehicles, fleet trucks that can't have downtime. At that time, it was about $900 a day. If a truck was down in a fleet, they're losing $900 a day. It's a lot more today. Would you believe me if I told you that? So I spent a lot of time working on fleet vehicles because breaking down was not an option. That cost the company money, and if you wanted the tender next time to service and take care of the vehicles and keep them on track with maintenance, because they don't want to replace these things, these rigs, until they have to. They want to keep them going long term. It's nothing to see 1 million miles on a highway truck. How do they do it? I'm going to spell it out for you. maintenance. Maintenance times 10. Because those rigs have to be assets, not liabilities. So that's where my mindset shows me and has proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that you can own a vehicle for 1 million miles and still be driving it. How do I know that? Because I serviced fleet vehicles when I got my 310T, my trucking ticket to fix big rigs, diesel coaches, all the big stuff. When they buy machinery, companies buy machinery that are diesel powered, they want to get every drip out of that piece of equipment before having to let it go and replace it. Maintenance. Then it becomes an asset, not a liability. So that mindset, I just don't see it being worthwhile throwing parts on an older vehicle. Well, fleet companies do that. They want every drip that vehicle can do for them, making profitability, turning a profit, and it's not breaking down. That's the purpose of fleet maintenance. And that's where many years ago I designed the Car Connection maintenance schedule kit based on my fleet maintenance record to be able to track any one vehicle with that chart that I created. That's so simple. Yeah, you don't even have to think about it because it does it for you. And you can treat your vehicle like a fleet vehicle, and guess what? Get every single drip out of that vehicle and put money in your pocket at the same time because it's profitable. You're not paying interest. You're not making payments. You own it, and you understand that it's an asset. Who cares what its value is? The '08 Rogue, $933 on a trade. That's what it would be worth. What's it worth to me right now? I'm going to post some pictures. I'll post some pictures, and maybe I'll get Skippy to do a walk around on it now that it's back and it's certified and it's ready to go. What does that mean? It's certified. It means that it is now an asset. It has become, yesterday was its birthday. That '08 Nissan Rogue just had a rebirth, and it is now officially an asset, not a liability. Because everything is up to par, and now it's my job as the fleet manager to keep that fleet vehicle going and get every drip out of it I possibly can. That doesn't mean I'm driving it into the ground. I don't talk to those people. You can't help them, period. You can't. Till the mindset changes that you're out there every day, up and down the highways, long days, short nights, long days, short nights. I know what that's all about. It's hard. Why would you not want to put money back in your wallet? Wherever you possibly could. Wherever you possibly could. Why would you not want to do that? It's an IDK. I don't know. So now that '08 Nissan Rogue is now an asset, and I am the maintenance manager to make sure that we get every drip out of that vehicle possible. And at the end of the day, it's not that there's just the keys left to it. Oh, here you go. You want to recycle those? No. There'll be lots left. Because if I treat it like a fleet vehicle, guess what? I can get every drip out of it possible. That's an asset. So that is the trade-off with modern day engines. Why they're not lasting like they used to. Because you're driving them into the ground. And then you got to go get another one, and then you drive that into the ground over the next 4 or 5 years. Then you got to go get another one, and then you're constantly trading time for money to be able to do that. Do you see that hamster on the wheel? Running. Where's he going? He has no idea, but he's just wired that that's what he's got to do. I got to get on that wheel as soon as I get out of my toilet paper house here and get on that wheel and run, get off, lick the little ball, get a pellet, jump back on. Do you see yourself doing that? So you're making payments on a nice, shiny new or a new to you vehicle, treating it after the first 6 months, then it goes back to treating it like a bad donkey. And you're going to trade time for money over the next 4 to 5 years to pay that thing off, to throw it away and go get another one, and then keep trading time for money. You're on the hamster wheel, get off, get a little lick of the ball, get a pellet, jump back on, and now you got to buy another car. And then you're going to do that for the next 4 to 5 years again. And then you're going to do it for the next 4 to 5 years again. That's exhausting to me. Why? Why would you want to do that? So that's why the engineers have given you what you wanted. High-revving engines that can run at high RPMs with tight tolerances, thinner oil, synthetic oil, so that they can try and help it to last as long as possible till it can't. So what kills it? You. That's the answer. What kills it? You. The engineers have given you everything you want to be able to drive 30 to 40 kilometers an hour over the speed limits, in and out of traffic, like you're running some kind of Formula One race, and you win nothing because at the end of the day, you're getting off the wheel, licking the ball, eating a pellet, jumping back on, trading time for money. That's how that works. It's all based on fleet maintenance. That's how I see it. I go, this is like fleet maintenance. Those things have to go up and down the highway, hauling loads to make money for the company and to pay for the driver so the driver can feed their family and live a life. And then the truck goes in for maintenance on time. It gets a good look over, gets a good fix up, and boom, back out on the road, hauling the loads. They can't afford to have it go down. That's fleet maintenance. So when you adapt to fleet maintenance, you can keep that vehicle as long as you want. As long as you want. And it is money in the pocket. Yeah, you're going to have to put some parts on it, but what doesn't need parts in this world? Your house never needs anything. Your plumbing, your electrics never needs any service work. Nothing ever goes wrong. There's maintenance everywhere. Fleet maintenance on the home. Fleet maintenance on your person. There's always going to be fleet maintenance. So I leave you with that. Tomorrow's discussion, we're going to talk about the other half of technology, turbo engines. Yeah, you can wind them up even higher for longer periods of time, but there'll be a price to pay. When Mr. Turbo says, today's the day, get your wallet out. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for another Motormouth morning drive. I hope I didn't beat you up too much, but I hope I helped you to turn that light switch on and go, he's right. We're on that hamster wheel. We got to fix that. Is my car an asset or a liability to my lifestyle, to my family, to my children, to my future, to my health? Turbo engines. Power now, problems later. That's what we're going to talk about. Make it a great day. Happy, healthy motoring, friends. Thanks for having us along. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and on our website, carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. Everything you need to connect with us is there. Thank you to Niagara Block at 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, for making Car Connection Workshop and Car Connection, our YouTube channel, all of it happening. Building Canada since 1931. Building supplies, hardscape, landscaping materials to help you design your special backyard, your oasis for summer 2026. Thank you to our nonprofit, faith-based organizations that are out there making it happen, serving the community, men, women, children, meals, love, and hope, changing lives one at a time in the Niagara region. That's what Crystal Ridge Dream Center does every single day of the week. And to Total Freedom Darien Center, New York, Addiction Campus open to Canadian and U.S. residents. That's for men and women there. Total Freedom Sydney, Manitoba, Canada is with Rick and Robin. They know and fully understand addictions because they've been there. That's a men-only campus, and you know what's waiting for you there? If you or somebody you know, someone you love is stuck in an addiction, there's a new life waiting for you there. And we're going to help you get there. You purchase some merchandise, some Motormouth merchandise. Proceeds go to the Total Freedom campuses to help those who can't help themselves. Let's do it. Let's do this life thing together. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for more of the Car Connection Workshop at 8 a.m. Peace, love, and kindness. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.